Pop, what's going on, man?
Son, episode 301.
301. Back to normal. Back to normal. Got the boys here. Guys, if you did not check out our 300th episode special with special guest Lou Holder, please head back there. Check that one out. But finish watching this one first for the algorithm. So our retention time is nice and high. So enjoy this one. Then when you're done this one and you go, man, they're only uploading once a week. I need more. Go back, hit that 300th episode. It is a great time. It's a great time. Or you know what? Open a new tab, run both. See if you can little ping pong action. I don't know. Figure it out, but stay on this one first.
Make like 100 accounts and subscribe on all
That's great. That's great. Get the stream farms started up for us. But
of them.
week one of OTAs is in the books. I'm gonna kick off this vibe check here. Vibes are exquisitely high for me. You know why? Because they're playing football again. I put on the radio and I hear interviews with Jaden Daniels. I put on the radio, I hear interviews with De'Ami Brown. Heard our good friend Lou Holder actually ask a great question to De'Ami earlier. Shout out Lou. And it's just so good that football is happening. And I know it's OTAs. I don't care. Those few months between the Super Bowl and OTAs where there's just no football happening and you're talking about dudes' hand sizes and vertical jumps and whatever, it's brutal for me. I can't stand it. So I'm so happy the football is happening. And for me, vibes are through the roof. Where are your vibes at, Pop?
Yeah, they're improving. I tell you all the time. I think that obviously going through what we did last season after what we thought was a turn the quarter year in 2024 was tough. But I just look at it and I look at the players we've added, especially on defense. I just can't help but be optimistic that things are just going to be much improved. I just think we forget. And granted, and you've got a potential superstar in Sonny Styles. So we said sort of last week, well, where's that guy you fear? Where's that superstar player? There isn't a proven one on the defense. The only proven one, there isn't a proven one on the defense. I'll just keep it there. But a guy like Sonny Styles certainly could be that guy. And then you just look at Owe, Chanel, you know, Chason, who's got a lot to prove, a Nick Cross, who just doesn't get talked about enough. And, I think a solid addition in Amik Robertson, all in that starting group. Getting younger, getting faster. How excited are you to just see that Chanel Stalls combo? Two of the highest rated linebackers in history when it comes to athletic scores. I just think I just don't understand how that can't be a real big step up. And, we've talked about offensively liking the depth at receiver, if not maybe the top end other than Terry. Um, and in terms of vibes, in terms of seeing the highlights, anytime you could see JD5 to Terry highlights, how can you not love that? So we're going to get into our schedule predictions later. That's the second half of the show. We haven't had a chance to do that yet because of other things taking priority. But we'll see. We'll see how high those vibes really are.
Yeah, it's gonna be key. His boy's a little slow today. Forgot I was on the mute button there while Pop was rapping. I had to jump back over. But it's gonna be key to, take a look at the schedule and see what's going on. But first look in the new Jaden Daniels, David Blau's offense reports are sky high. I mean, everybody's saying that he looks great. He looks comfortable. He looks like I think Jalen Lane's quote was that he looks like he was the founder of the offense, something like that. So that's really great to hear. At the end of the day, my favorite quote from all of it is actually from Jaden, where he just said, I'm playing quarterback. And that's just one kind of little bit out of a longer answer, but he just said, I'm playing quarterback. And at the end of the day, all these offenses across the league, they all kind of do the same thing. They present themselves in different ways. And you've got an offense that JP made a great point on the Beltway football pod yesterday. This is a quarterback friendly offense. These offenses are designed to make the game easier on the quarterback if the quarterback can understand where the conflicts are, what the things to look for, the progressions. Like these are supposed to be very simple offenses for the quarterback to get through. So this idea that he's under center and it's a more pro ready, pro style offense. Well, the pro style offense is designed to make the game easy on the quarterback. So this should be an easier transition for him. And I know it's May. We don't want to get overexcited. But at the end of the day, what could have happened, what the reports could have been, were what they were this time last season, by the way. Reports offense is a little out of sync, a little clunky. Laramie Tunzel didn't show up. Terry McLaurin didn't show up. Daron Payne didn't show up. Guys not holding out because of the last. They're on the last part of their deal with no guaranteed money they want to play. Everybody was there, even Laramie Tunzel, who, by the way, is notorious for not going to OTAs while he was in Houston,
Right.
regardless of his contract situation. Just re signed. He's
Wasn't
there.
Adam last year for us?
Yeah, it wasn't Adam last year for us. He's there, bought in, everything signed, sealed, delivered, even off an extension. You would expect him to not be there. Got his extension done, wasn't there last year. All's gravy.
I
He's
think
there.
he and DQ had a convo, and DQ said, "Come on, man, you're the leader of this offensive line. We need you," and he stepped
Yeah,
up.
and you got Terry there, you got everybody there, and the whole conversation. You can read. We do a vibe check for a reason, right? You can read vibes of people. Pop and I were people, good people skills. You watch the interviews, you look at these people, right? And you see the talk is not just it's not drivel. Like the whole like Mariota talking about let the fire burn and they're hot and they're unacceptable with what happened last year. Of course, that's what anybody would say. But for me personally, I prefer that rhetoric to like you'll get guys going, oh, last year we're not thinking about last year, we're just focused on this year, doing the best we can this year, blah, blah, blah. Like I prefer the idea of like, no, we know last year sucked and we're not gonna do that again. And so we're here, we're fired up, we're locked in. And like I was saying earlier, the reports could have been that the offense was out of sync and people were uncomfortable and, oh, don't panic. It's May 30th. They're going to put it together. No, the reports were this thing hit the ground running. Everybody looks comfortable in the new offense. It looks great. Guys look exciting. They look like things are going to take a step in the right direction. So, how can you not be fired up?
Yeah, and again, I think that everyone wants to really focus their attention on the things we don't have. There's not enough at wide receiver. Um, we need more at corner. But again, I'm more focused on what we've added. We've added a Chigakonkwo. We've got guys. I think when you look at the wide receiver group, you added Antonio Williams. We haven't talked about him yet. Who's looked good, looks like a pro. From day one. Um, and I think that that's important. You got Jalen Lane on a second year of his deal. Luke McCaffrey's coming back looking swole out there. I think you got a Van Jefferson who's a seventh receiver, who's a proven pro, if nothing else, right? So if you have to dig into that depth, you got it. Treylon Burks getting snaps with the starting offense. It's not to say that we shouldn't look to get better. I mean, that was a big thing, emphasis that Lowell had. I'm sure that Adam Peters and company are going to continue to look for opportunities. But reality is at this point, who are you going to add, right? We know, who's out there, receiver, potentially the Ayuks to Diggs. And yeah, maybe there's an opportunity there. But if that's the case, probably a pretty good player isn't going to make this roster. And we haven't even talked about Chigakonkwo yet. And, yes, Zach Ertz was a really strong contributor to this team, but this is a different kind of player. This guy looks like a wide receiver out there from reports, right? So it's a different kind of weapon for this offense. And I know, you're not as high on Rashad White, but I am. I think that he's going to be also a contributor to this team and as a, maybe a fill-in back on first downs, but I think he's going to be your starting third down back. And Jaden is looking a little bit thicker out there. So, I mean, I think the other part in terms of like the offense, I don't think the transition to playing under center is going to be that tough for a guy that has the footwork that Jaden does and smarts that Jaden does. And that's the thing you hear too. Like, he's just got no issue picking it up. He just picks things up like that.
And that's the
And
difference. And that's where, like, people who watch football and watch this team every week and watch Jaden every week in 2024 and follow and stay up to date on what's going on with this team, that's where we get aggravated with certain comparisons to other quarterbacks that run fast it's a different game with this kid. It's not he is not a running quarterback. He's a quarterback that can run, and he just so happens to be an elite runner. But he's not a running quarterback. It's a quarterback that can run with elite speed. That's
He
what
makes
makes
it look
Jaden different.
easy.
That's why he goes number two, right? It's this is a prospect that we haven't seen before. This is a guy with the processing power of a name your guy, right? I'm not going to go out here and make comparisons, but I think if you look at the other quarterback who's had a lot of success in this offense, Jared Goff, this is a guy with processing power on par, better than that guy, right? And can also run on par with, again, name your guy across the league, any of them, aside from maybe the absolute top 1%, one run a year that Lamar breaks that Jaden can't do. The rest of them Jaden can do. But there's always one or two that is a little shiftier than five has. And hat tip to Lamar,
I think the
top
difference,
five guy. But
the Lamar comparisons. I mean, Lamar is a better runner than Jaden because Lamar's like a running back out there. Jaden's like a quarterback that can run. That's, that's the difference. He's not running the ball like a running back.
Lamar's
He's
a
got his head
Lamar's a
up.
great passer.
He's trying not to take contact. He's
I
trying not
want
to
to
take contact. Yeah,
I want to stop you before you get yourself blown up because I know you don't feel that way. Lamar's a great quarterback.
I know Lamar is a great
There's
quarterback.
that fan
All
base is
around, he's a
sensitive
great all around. He's a
when you say
great all
the R
around
word
quarterback.
about Lamar. They're
I just
sensitive.
said they're
Trying to
different.
help
They're not. I get the comparison, but I think the way Jaden runs compared to the way Lamar runs, I just call Lamar a better runner than Jaden. I think it's different. I think Jaden runs like a quarterback who's running, who's got his head up, is not trying to take contact, even though we know that's been a bit of an issue at times. Um, yeah, I mean, look, in terms of the comparison, I just think that yeah, there's no reason that Chicago fans shouldn't be super excited, about their quarterback, and the same with New England fans, right? I mean, they should be. But I think they're not the same players in any way, shape, or form. I think the guy in Chicago, Caleb, he makes incredible plays, spectacular plays. But that's his calling card to make those spectacular occasional plays, and Jaden can do that too. But what Jaden does on a play in, play out basis, he's got the consistency of running that offense and spreading that ball around. That's another thing that he does great, is spread the ball around. And that's going to be important because you don't, other than Terry, you don't have that one superstar weapon. Now maybe Chig can become that. Maybe a couple of these other guys can step up. It's pretty interesting. I think a couple of other interesting notes is Treylon Burks has taken first team snaps. And so, as I had predicted, is Brandon Coleman, a left guard. Now, it's early. Those guys are going to compete. I'm sure they're going to mix and match in. But I think there's real competition happening at left guard.
Yeah, the Brandon Coleman situation is interesting because all summer last year I had him as my number one like breakout player. I was very excited about Coleman, and I kept saying he was better than you gave him credit for. Not you specifically, but everybody gave him credit for at left tackle. When you move him from left tackle to left guard, he's going to be a dog. Like he's more built for a guard. He's very athletic. Like this is where he's going to shine. And then he was atrocious for the first couple weeks of the year, and he got benched. And Chris Paul came in, there was some injury talk. He was deactivated for weeks at a time. Like it was a real kind of statement thing. And now Chris Paul's out. He's back. Like we signed him back, but now you've got Coleman getting most of the snaps starting at left guard. It's interesting. What are the plans
I
for Chris
said
Paul?
I said last season it kind of got dismissed. You didn't. I don't think it's the reason that there was a Cliff Kingsbury falling out, but I think it was one of the straws on the camel. I think he got in Cliff's doghouse, and I think there was frustration about that. And some of that is Adam Peters is a draft pick, high draft pick for Peters, and he's frustrated about, hey, what about this guy that we got? He started off nicked at the beginning of the year, but I think I called it. I said I think they want Brandon Coleman to be that guy. Now, if Chris Paul beats him out, so be it. I think be cool with that. And it's great to have that kind of problem in terms of depth, right,
Yeah.
between those two, because either one of
Well,
them is capable, right?
and you've even got Andrew Wiley, who's a steady hand there
Oh
if you
yeah,
need
no
it.
doubt.
So there's lots of
The
good,
only
you
thing
know,
you worry about is the center position, but even though there's concerns about Nick Allegretti, he's gotten a lot of votes of confidence from his teammates. Of course, he would. He's by all accounts a great guy, but Matt Goblin is also seeing, you know, a lot of action in there. Albeit with the second team, but I think he's a guy that could flash as well. So yeah, that's what it's all about this time of season, right? When they're in pajamas. Did you
yeah,
hear uh, Dan Campbell talk about he's sick of talking about guys in pajamas
that's
playing at
great.
OTAs and getting excited? He said, "Talk to me at training camp." But
Yeah, well,
for
Dan
guys in
Campbell just wants to
pajamas,
see
they're
some
looking
head
pretty
spin.
good.
That's good. And you know what? Like we've said this in the past, right? Like it's not. It doesn't mean they're going to go to the Super Bowl, but you want to see the guys look good in May, and right now they look good in May. So there's no complaints from us so far.
And by
Um,
all accounts, Sonny Styles looks like the real deal too. Can't
yeah,
leave that.
yeah, I agree, and I think maybe there's room for a little more room for discussion on that as the year goes on. But yeah, Sonny Styles supposedly looks like a freak. What I'll wrap us up with is comments from Logan Paulson on Jaden Daniels, and he just said like he is so freaking good. And he's like, you forget. He's like, after one day of OTAs, you just forget how good this guy is. And Logan Paulson's the guy that is just, he's honest. And when it comes to media presences for this team and guys who know what to look for, no tape, and really no ball, that's a guy you got to put as high as anybody else that's talking about this team. Checks every box, knows how to study the film, obviously played for a long time, and it covers the team exceptionally well. And he's honest. He'll tell you if things don't look the way they're supposed to. And he was glowing about Jaden
He's a
after some
top half of the
OTAs.
league quarterback, Dominic. I mean, you know.
Yeah, I mean, the top five guy does fit in the top half of the league, technically speaking. We got some.
I can't wait. We're going to do a quarterback ranking, the famous Dominic quarterback ranking. I love when he just takes the floor on that, and I just throw in some comments here and there. But
Couple weeks, yeah.
we just need to let everyone talk. Everyone talk.
Remember what
Everyone's
Lou
for,
said, man? It's
everyone's
toilet
forgotten
paper.
about
It's
everyone's
toilet
forgotten
paper.
about Jaden, including some of the locals.
Yeah.
And I get the pumping the brakes idea. I kind of like to do that too, because we're all nervous in terms of his injuries, which were freak and only happened in 1 year of his entire career through college so far. But that's fine. And he was also held out, and they were extra cautious with him because it was a trash year. But let everyone, I guess, let everyone talk. Let everyone talk. I wouldn't trade this guy for anyone in the league.
Been
Not
saying
not
that.
a one. Not a one.
Been saying that. So let's get into our schedule predictions. What do you say, Pop?
Yeah. Better late than never. But you know what? The thing is, you've all been through it already. It's a couple 3 weeks old. It's going to feel fresh again.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, we got to do it. We got to do it. Everybody does theirs. We're gonna do ours. Um, and plan is we're gonna go pretty rapid fire here. Just give me win, loss. We're not gonna break any of these games down, and then we're gonna stop. We're gonna stop at the bye week. Little recap. We're gonna stop about week 14. Little recap. And we're going to then obviously stop at the end and recap it, see where we land. But let's go ahead. Let's get into it. I'm going to call this the Lou Holder chunk of the schedule. This first 6 weeks, the most important chunk, according to our good friend Lou, and I would agree. Let's get into it. It kicks off with week 1, September 13th, 4:25 p.m. at the Philadelphia Eagles Lincoln Financial Field, live on Fox. I'm going to be cursing the Fox Sports app without a doubt on this one.
Asking
God,
me for my
awful.
password three
His
minutes before
Verizon
the
password,
kickoff.
which changes, that has the most secure Verizon login in the history, I mean, he's storing government sensitive information. There's nuclear war codes in Dad's Verizon password. Changes every 3 weeks because he
You're
can't
welcome,
remember it
son.
himself. Thank you. Saving me a few bucks on YouTube TV, I guess. But anyways, getting into it. Week one here, September 13th, 4:25 p.m. Philadelphia Eagles at Philly. Tough start to the season. What do you got there, Pop?
I like catching them week one. I like catching them early. Get it out of the way. It's not something you gotta let them get revved up. A lot of drama in Philly. I got us with a W on this one.
Yeah, I got us with a W on this one too. Why not? Week two, Dallas at Dallas. I didn't realize when I saw the schedule these were both on the road. At
Brutal.
Dallas, 4:25 p.m. What do you got?
I just see us splitting these games, so I'm going to go loss there.
We're in lockstep. I actually think Dallas is going to be good this year. Week three, 1 p.m. Seattle Seahawks. So home opener, Super Bowl champions coming into town. We got blown out by this team, embarrassed. Jaden's arm broke into a million pieces. You all know the story. What do you like here, Pop?
I think it's going to be a close one. I think we're going to prove a lot in this game, but I think we're going to lose a tight one to Seattle.
I think we're gonna get smoked. It doesn't. No pictures on the scorecard. I think it's gonna be an ugly one. Loss. Um, week four in London, Indianapolis Colts. What do you like here?
I think the boys are going to rally and get this win against the Colts in London. I got good vibes about the London game.
Yeah, give me an ugly win against Indy. Danny Dimes was kind of coming back down to earth before he tore his Achilles. I don't know if he'll be ready by then. I don't know what that's looking like. I think Indy was a flash in the pan. Week five, Giants at home. Now we're 1-1 in the division up until this point. You got the Giants at home, and we're also 2-2, or 2-2 according to both of our schedule predictions. What do you like here, Pop? What's the breaking point?
We own the New York Football Giants. That's a W.
Sure do. No, no woes because of Harbaugh. I'm going W here. It's a mess up there in New York, no matter what. And it was a mess in Baltimore with Harbaugh in charge last year too. That's what people forget. They ran the guy out of town, and he's going to change everything in New York. Anyways, um, week six, 8:15 p.m. San Francisco 49ers, Levi Stadium, Monday Night Football before the bye week. I mean, just brutal. You're going to London, then you got a division opponent, then you got Monday Night Football. That's tough, man. What do you got?
Yeah, you get the extra day there to prepare, but it is tough. I mean, I think all that travel is going to catch up with them, and San Francisco at home is always just so good. Again, I think as long as JD5 is healthy and we stay relatively healthy as a team, I don't see ourselves embarrassing ourselves in any of these games. I think there's just a wide void, again, despite what some local guys say, and I'm taking too long, but I do think we're going to lose a tough one here.
Yeah, I think it's a loss here too. I've been taking some liberties on the setup. It's all good. We got, I mean, so far, let me tell y'all, we're like 3 minutes in. This is by far and away exponentially the fastest Dom and Pop schedule breakdown. We're 23 minutes into this podcast. Usually we'd be on about week four and we'd have talked about nothing else. So this is pretty good. Boys are on pace. So week seven bye week. So we both have them at 3-4. And I think we've picked every game exactly the same. Is that
Three and
right, Pop?
three, 3 and 3,
Three, 3-3 through 6 weeks.
6 games played. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes, and
6 weeks,
we've picked all the games identical. Yeah,
3-3. So there's no dialogue about a head coaching change at 3-3. There's no, I mean, you got to wonder what it looks like if you're 1-5 at the
well,
bye week, right?
that's where lose right. Like, I mean, it's one of those schedules. The start of the schedule, you can get away from you quick,
Yeah,
and you know, but like at Dallas, at Philly, like those are impossible games to compete in. Come on, they're not, and we're going to show up. Last I checked, and so I think 3 and 3 is about right. Maybe it's 2 and 4, but it can't be. You know, the wheels can't be off the cart at this point. And I just kind of feel with what we talked about earlier with OTAs and the talent on this roster, I just don't see that happen. This team is gonna be ready to compete this season. unless
Yeah,
the injury bug hits hard again, which we need that to go away. We had enough of that last year.
yeah.
Yeah,
Where you make me what really like you could say the first 3 weeks, but for me it's the first 2 weeks. I mean, you've got Philly and Dallas.
got to
If you
split
come
those.
if you come out of those 0-2, and let's say one of them gets ugly, um, if you come out of those 0-2 and one of them gets ugly, and then you've got Seattle, who you have no reason to believe is not going to start the season totally dominant, right? I mean, maybe Sam
Yeah,
Darnold turns back into a pumpkin, but I think he's had enough good seasons that that's conversation's over. And you're got Seattle coming home, they put a thumping on you. Like then you're talking about some scary stuff as a
I think
start to
Mike
the season.
McDonald's the real deal. You know, they were showing some interviews with him, and he talked about how, which I think is just brilliant. He said, "This isn't about repeating. This is about where we can go from here," and that just takes the pressure off your team. I wish I had the exact quote, but what he said was brilliant. He said,
Yeah.
we're just trying to build and get better, and we're not worried about repeating, and um, that's that's brilliant. So I think he's the real deal, and I think they're going to continue to be dominant force. But I don't think we get. It's a home game for us. It's always tough for whoever's doing it coming across the country for a 1 o'clock start. You figure that's a 10 a.m. game for them.
Yeah.
So, I think we'll be ready. I think we'll be ready to compete, but you don't want to be 0-2 going into that game because then you start squeezing, right? And anytime you're squeezing, like with a golf swing, right? You got that little chip from off the green that you can hit 99 times out of 100 when you're practicing. But
But
when,
Dom's in for 7, and you gotta.
but I can't tell you how many of those I've sculled across the green. So,
Oh man, we
you know,
suck. But anyways, coming out of that bye, we're 3-3, and we got coming out of that bye again. It's funny, man. You start the season with Philly, and then you get Philly off a bye week at home. Sunday night football. God, I tell you what, man, I'm getting butterflies just talking about this. Like I'm getting
how
so
great is it?
fired up. It's nothing better than NFL football, man. We were discussing, relocating and dreaming about maybe a life in London or Italy. And I just said to Morgan, the NFL season is a large
Got to
factor
be
in that
home.
conversation. Got
Got
to
to
be
be
home
home for
for it.
that.
I hate to say it. I wish it was different, but this is how I am, man. But Sunday, November 1st, off the bye week, week 8, 8:20 p.m., Philadelphia Eagles at home. You're 3-3. So let's start there. We're 3-3, coming off a loss on the road to San Francisco out of the bye week. What do you like here?
Yeah, I'm not gonna pick a sweep in Philly. So since I got us winning the first one, I'm gonna pick a loss here. It sets up good. You got a bye week. You got rested. I wouldn't be shocked if we take this one, but just for the fact that I won't have a sweeping them, I won't be that bold at this stage yet.
Yeah.
Talk to me in September. But I'll say it's a loss.
It's not for me as much as it's about us sweeping Philly. Like, if you put Dallas in this spot, who I think Philly and Dallas are going to be pretty even next year, if you put Dallas in this spot, I would still take a win. It's just about I like the spot and I'm calling my shot. And again, don't I wouldn't be surprised if you flip those first 2 weeks. So you lose to Philly and you beat Dallas. But give me this one. Give me a win here. I'm gonna go win. You're
All
four
right, I
and
like
three
it.
coming out of that bye. Um, week 9, Sunday, November 8th at or you got the Rams at home again. What do you
Yeah,
like?
I think you're in good shape here. You got to buy. You're at home. You're feeling home cooking for 3 weeks straight. They got to come across country. Rams tend to be hot and cold. I think we're going to catch them cold here and get this win.
Give me a
I,
loss here.
I knew you were going there. You
Give me a
love you
loss
some
here.
Los Angeles Rams.
At any point in the season, this is the hard part about the Rams. They look like anywhere from a team that won't make the wild card to the best team in football every year. And there's like a 4 game stretch where they just look unbeatable. And then there's like a 4 game stretch where they look terrible. So it's tough, but give me the Rams. Week 10, you got the Giants. Now you're going to New York. What do you like?
Tub. Like I
Dub.
said, I'm not picking the Giants till they prove it. They're already injured, which is unfortunate. I'm
Yeah,
going to.
give me a win there. We got week 11 Bengals at home. We all know what happened last time we played the Bengals. What do you like?
I I like our boys over the Bengals. I mean, you got a great quarterback, you got great receivers. Otherwise, there's nothing on that team that makes me fear them that much. I think we can hold them with our new revamped defense, and I think we can outscore them with our offense.
Yeah, give me another win here. Monday Night Football gets the Bengals. Give me a win.
They're
Then
for
you got the Cardinals
can't pick the Cardinals.
425. That's an easy one. You don't have to think too much about that, right?
You can't pick the Cardinals.
Two wins for the boys here. Then you got the Titans. This is
Can't
my
pick the
favorite part of
Titans.
the schedule.
You
You
can't
got to
pick
pick the
the
boys here
Titans.
again, right?
We should revisit that Bengals game.
Yeah. So let's recap here. And no, this is setting up about how I wanted it to set up. Let's recap here. Pop, you're the math guy. Where are the records at? We're gonna recap here,
I'm not
headed
sure I like.
into
I don't. I'm not sure I like where the record's at this point. We're a little off the rails. We're at 8-4.
I like that. I think that's about right. Knowing what's coming down the pike, I think that's about right. I think it's about right. I mean, we were in 2024, we were uh 7-2, and then we lost three, and then we won out. So this
Yeah.
is these if you're talking about a good football team, these streaks happen. And I don't think 8-4. I don't think if you look up at 8-4 at any point in the year, you're surprised. Personally,
You look at this
um,
next batch of games though. Like these next three are all. I think the next four. I think all five are winnable games.
I think so. You could say
Yeah,
that. You got
I'm sure they're
Houston.
looking at us and saying the same thing. But
You got Houston. 1 o'clock, week 14. Yeah, we'll get that at the end. Let's get back into these picks here. Houston, week 14. What do you like?
I'm going to say we dropped this one just because I think I got overzealous, a little over my skis. That saying that we, go on a 5 game winning streak. I got us on a 5 game winning streak. I don't think that's actually going to happen in reality. I would feel pretty good in this spot, but I'm going to have us a loss. That's a tough defense. Really
I'm
tough
with you.
defense.
I'm with you. I think the defense drops it, and I think Stroud returns to form next year. So give me Houston in this one. Hard fought, but you're going to lose some games. Then you got Atlanta at home. What do you like here?
I'm not picking the Falcons. That team seems like they're in a bit of shambles. I'm going with a dub there at home.
Yeah, yeah, I'll pick a win as well. So 9-5 for the boys here. Week 16. It could be a Saturday night game. It could be a Sunday game. We don't know yet. Minnesota Vikings late in the year in Minnesota. What do you like?
I mean, that defense always shows up. It's just they're a problem. I think that it's interesting. Already seems to be a bit of quarterback back and forth there, but I do think Kyler Murray can play ball if he can stay healthy, especially with KOC coaching him. So I go lost there.
Yeah, I'm gonna go win there. I think you get your comeuppance, get your revenge after last year. Week 17, Jacksonville Jaguars. What do you like? We don't know what Jacksonville's gonna be.
I will say that this is going to be a win.
Okay, I got a loss. And that brings us to week 18, a game that they do this every year. So I don't know if they think that this is going to be for the division. I think last year when they put us against Philly week 18, they definitely thought that was going to be for the division. That was a disappointing one. Um, but this one I think could be for the division, and if not for the division, I think you could have real playoff implications. If where our records where we were predicting it currently is going to be at, I think it's going to have real implications. You've got the Dallas Cowboys at Northwest Stadium. What do you like here, Pop?
I'm going to say loss just because we're at sitting at 10 wins on my prediction. And I think I'm kind of using that logic of these last 2 games are going to split. And also, I
Yeah.
don't see us sweeping Dallas since I picked us winning. I did pick us losing. Shoot. I'm not going to have Dallas sweeping us. I'm reversing course. W here.
So that's what I want to. So we're at the end. It's basically recap time, and I think the recap goes into this win. What's my record at, Pop? I'm at 10 wins right now. I'd be 11 if we beat Dallas.
Yes.
Give
I,
me the give me that win. Give me the Dallas Cowboys because I think look, if you get this far in the season, here's the thing. I did just technically predict an 11-6 record. I think realistically, you're probably going to drop a couple more than you should. You're going to need to get some good bounces to get that to that record. I think realistically, we're probably hanging around 9-10 wins. But I think if you're in the scenario where you're in contention and you've got Dallas coming home and you got to win that game, I just believe in the boys, man. I just do, and I shouldn't after last year. I really shouldn't, but I do. So
yeah,
give me the
it's that
boys.
time of year. Vibes are high. I would definitely take. I mean, we both picked 11 wins. I'd take the under on 11 wins if you were asking me right now what I
The
thought
math would
personally.
show.
I'm not speaking to you for you. I think it feels more like 9 or 10. I do think it's a bounce back year. I don't think the measure is the championship game, but I think that Dan Quinn and this coaching staff and Adam Peters for that matter and Jaden Daniels for that matter all need to show a bounce back year. And that might be 7 wins, that might be 8 wins, that might be 9 or 10. I think it has to be in the 8 or better range for you to kind of say, okay, we're headed in the right direction. I think 10 wins feels better for me, but you get a little lost going through there. I probably should have given them a loss somewhere in that 5 game winning streak that I had in that middle stretch. But I do tell you, as intimidating and as tough as that first 6 games is, really the first 8, because you come out of that bye and you got Philly and LA, right, which are both really good teams. It gets pretty darn soft with what we know now. You think New York, Cincy, Arizona, Tennessee, Houston, Atlanta, Minnesota, Jacksonville, Dallas, a couple decent teams in there, but then none of those really scare you. So I don't think we should get in a full on panic if we're, say, at 2 wins, at that 6 game part, or maybe we're at a 3-5 record after 8. Because we can make some, especially if we're healthy and you see progress and you see a competitive team, we can make some hay down the stretch in the second
Yeah,
half of the schedule.
that's what I think. I think it's like the start of the schedule is obviously rough. It's hard, but at the end of the day, man, you just don't. The two biggest asterisks for this entire thing is that you get 17 games of Jaden Daniels, and that you get some improvement on the defense. You get those two things. I think these predictions are pretty good, and we're assuming those two things, and those are big assumptions. Big assumptions given what
Even
happened last season.
15 games of Jaden Daniels, I mean, would be a problem. I think for the rest of the league, right? I just feel like when that kid is in his element and he's healthy, I just never feel out of a game. Like I
You're
don't.
not. There,
I
it's
just
been
don't feel. That's
proven.
why I can't sit here and say I think Seattle's going to blow us out of the building. I do think Seattle's going to be a problem. But of course, we saw it last year, right? They showed they were the real deal.
I
I just
mean,
don't
they
think this
blew
kid's
everybody
ever
out of the
out of it.
building
I don't
last year.
think this kid's ever out of it. And if we have a defense that can bow up and get some stops and maybe make Sam Darnold look a little bit more like the Sam Darnold we knew and loved before the last couple of years, you never know. So they're going to hit some bumps along the way. There's going to be some tough ones. But, I think that and I guess my biggest point, and I'm good after this, is I kind of like starting out tough because you get those games out of the way. You don't have a game at Philly looming. What if that last game was at Dallas? What if that week 18, which you might really need, is at Dallas instead of us getting that road game out of the way early in week 2? And if you can go in and knock, 1-1 is a great start. If you get a dub against one of those two teams on the road, if you're looking at the schedule as a whole and you win a division road game in your first 2 games, you're ahead of schedule at that point, in my opinion.
Yeah. You come out of that 2-0, and
To
all of a
view it
sudden
as an
people are talking.
opportunity. Yeah,
Yeah.
view it as an
That's
opportunity.
That's the big thing, and I think there's a lot to be said about like, oh, September football. I know teams are building for December, not September, and it's a little janky and blah 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 blah. Philly usually starts kind of slow, so I think there is an opportunity where if you put a big emphasis on we're going to come out and we're going to hit these dudes in the mouth. And the other element that I thought of, and I'm also good after this. I wish I said this 40 minutes ago because I think this is maybe the best point I've made this pod. Look at what Jaden did 2 years ago when there was no tape on him. There's no tape on him again. This is a new offense. So, no tape on Jaden Daniels, that raw talent where defenses don't know what's coming. You can catch some guys sleeping the first few weeks. And if you get into that by 4-2 as opposed to 3-3, which I think even your most conservative predictions, you might predict a 2-4 or 3-3, right? If you get into that bye week, just one win in the other direction, 4-2, things look entirely different. I think week 6 in the NFL, in my opinion, is one of the biggest swings because landing between 3-3 and 4-2 is a vastly different world for me.
The guy gives defensive coordinators nightmares when he's right. Bottom line. But I got a question for you. 11 wins win the division?
I think 11 wins, you could be looking at that Cowboys game as the division kind of
Yeah, but
championship.
you finish the Cowboys game with 11 wins. Do you win the division?
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
I like that.
Maybe you lose on a tiebreaker to Philly or something like that, but I think 11 wins is the number.
Nice.
That would be, and that's it. So 11 wins, you win the division. Dan Quinn's safe. David Blau is safe. Everybody's Durante Jones is safe. Jaden Daniels is going to get paid $500 million next summer. Everything's good.
Imagine that,
Um,
like a home playoff game, and oh my gosh, I mean,
we're going.
you'd be feeling pretty damn good
We're going.
going into that thing,
Very,
and that's all we
very
want is a
simple.
chance. I'd love them to somehow just get in the playoffs, even if it's with 9 wins, because I
Yeah.
just and a healthy Jaden and a Jaden who's had a great season, we'd be feeling pretty good about that. I mean, it's already proven once that he can go on a run, so let's just hope
Yep.
that happens.
Let's see. Let's see. We're gonna need a little help from the football gods this year, as opposed to everything going as wrong as it can possibly go. But let's wrap this thing up. Without further ado, I've been Dom.
This is Pop.
Thanks for another great week, everybody, and hail to the Commanders.
Hell.